Welcome to another edition of T-Tray Video Game Reviews. We're on the second week of Halloween month, and I could think of no better game to play than this one right here. One of the most gruesome and violent games I ever seen, and that is Splatterhouse 2. Splatterhouse 2 is a beat-em-up game developed by Namco Production and published by Namco. It is a sequel to the arcade Splatterhouse game and came out to North America on July 1992 for the Sega Genesis console. It stars a man by the name of Rick, who is seduced by an evil master in order to save a damsel in distress. This is considered one of the most graphic games ever made since Mortal Kombat in 1991. So for the younger people who watch me, viewer discretion is advised. Now without further ado, here is Splatterhouse 2. The game kicks off with an extended opening talking about a woman that we don't have to allow to die and a creepy mask talking to the player character. We then get our features of start game, options, and password. And there's no easy mode to speak of, so the easiest you're going to get is normal. The game starts right off in a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up fashion where all you have to use are your manly fists. You can pick up weapons and attack enemies with them, but they are few and far between. A and C allows you to jump, and the B button lets you punch, showing that it really is just a two-button game. Enemies look like demons or monsters of some kind, and when you punch them they fall apart and bleed green. The designer probably chose to go with fake green blood to keep the game from being too graphic for the stakes. The raw brutality of the game is its main selling point. There's blood everywhere, creatures falling apart, puke, and bloody spikes. The main character looks like he's Jason from the Friday the 13th series, which may have been an inspiration, and the game's creepy atmosphere and spooky backdrop brings the game to life in more ways than one, making it the perfect game to play for Halloween. The introduction to the first boss is rather funny. We see a couple of creatures walking straight to their deaths, and the third one tries to avoid it until he sees the player character and decides instant death will be more peaceful. Then you have the first boss, some kind of slug monster that spits green puke at you. It took me a while to realize that your best bet is just punch him rapidly until he's dead, but get away from him as soon as he stops moving or else his insides will kill you. The second level puts you in an utter fader with some annoying jumping enemies before getting off to another area with a creepy background and scary faces staring at you, and enemies who are finally going to fight back. You have 3 lives and a health bar. When a life is taken, you start back at the last checkpoint in the game. When all 3 lives are taken, you have the option to retry or quit. Retrying will take you to the beginning of the level regardless of where you were at when you first died. But it's unlimited continuous and the game over won't start you back at the beginning of the game. I can only say that's fair. The story is rather cryptic, and the fact I've never played the first game might have something to do with that. But from what I can piece together, he's trying to save some woman he thought dead, and the demonic mask taunting him is his only way of doing that. Apart from that, there isn't much story in this game. But that was the case for many 8-bit and 16-bit games of yesteryear. The graphics are amazing even today. The gruesome nature of the game comes alive through the visual showing monsters falling apart, green blood being spilled, puke, and all kinds of creepy and strange visuals to keep you on the edge of your seat. While it's really not a survival horror game by any means, it does show a lot of horror elements that might influence future horror games of its kind. The music is also really good and puts you in the mood to play, creating that creepy feeling that anything could be lurking around the corner. You never quite know what you're going to bump into while playing, even if you are a near unstoppable juggernaut who can break bodies with your fists. If I had to list the flaws, that the game has quite the learning curve and few ways of replenishing its health or getting extra life. There's no easy mode to speak of, and there doesn't seem to be many checkpoints, so say you get to the boss of the level but lose all your lives, you're right back to the start of the stage, which can be frustrating depending on the stage. But if it's the challenge and graphic violence you're looking for, then look no further. Overall, Splatterhouse 2 is true to its name. It's literally a splatterhouse with plenty of blood, graphic violence, and gruesome imagery that gets the blood pumping. I cannot see this game being ported to something like the Super Nintendo with how violent it is. This is a game that could only exist on the Sega Genesis console. If you somehow missed it and you want to give it a shot, then I definitely recommend. I give this game a 6 out of 10. That's it for this edition of T-Tray Reviews. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you next week for more of Halloween month. Ta-ta for now.